Now, the Prime Minister is desperately trying to avoid a potential revolt against the AUKUS submarine deal. As we know, the unions are expressing major concerns over that deal. The Australian today revealed that a number of left faction heavyweights, including the radical CFMEU union and the Australian Manufacturing Workers Union, are considering a motion that would force the Albanese government to provide an explanation of the national benefits of the program and assurances over safety and local jobs. I mentioned to Stephen Conroy there that those jobs might end up in South Australia. It seems like that deal might have already been done. Joining me now is Strategic Analyst Australia Director Michael Shoebridge. Michael, we don't want to see AUKUS put under any more pressure than it's already under. I wonder what the Americans make of this domestic argy-bargy over nuclear subs.
Well, Steve, they will be watching it carefully, and the problem is that Mr Albanese has a government that signed up to AUKUS, but his party hasn't. And that disconnect is really affecting the way the government can implement AUKUS. They want to almost pretend it isn't happening and put it on the back burner. But unfortunately, our security demands he do the opposite and fast-track things like getting the basing for US and UK subs and the maintenance right well before our first subs turn up. So he's got a problem as he heads to Washington in October.
Well, let's put the jobs issue aside. It seems like a deal will be done on that. It appears to me that in the background of this, deep down within the left of the Labor Party, a lot of this is about we don't like touching anything that mentions the word nuclear, even if it is a submarine that might ultimately be our best weapon against a major enemy like China.
Well, you're right, and there's more trouble around the nuclear issue for the Albanese government. So a lot of the delegates and the factions and unions at this Labor conference are openly anti-American and anti-nuclear. And really, in Washington's eyes, that could undercut their conviction that we're all in on this deal, which is so important for our security.
Because I presume that in the United States, if there were any complaints about the use of nuclear weapons, they would be fairly muted. There wouldn't be a massive debate in the United States, would there be, given that how long that they've been arming themselves with nuclear weapons, including submarines?
Well, neither the Democrats nor the Republicans in the US are going to have a president who's pressured by their party to sign a treaty prohibiting nuclear weapons, while Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un have nuclear weapons. It's lunacy for an Australian government to be under pressure from their own political party to tell the Americans they should put these weapons down that are ensuring our security.
And it comes at a time, doesn't it, Michael, where there are leading Democrats and some Republicans who are actually, vocally on Capitol Hill saying, hang on a minute, what are we doing giving these people down in Australia access to our nuclear secrets?
Well, exactly. And if they've read Mr Albanese's speech to the Labor conference, in 16 pages and 4,000 words, he can't bring himself to mention AUKUS or our alliance, or even China once. And so you've got to think to yourself, is he all in on AUKUS and the alliance, or is he going to be driven by the internal dynamics of the Labor Party?
And the other thing he's got to juggle, I mean, you've got to give him some sympathy here. He's got to now juggle, it appears, a potential visit to the United States. We've already had Joe Biden invite him to go there. It's a state visit. And he's also hoping to go and see go and visit China at the same time later this year.
Well, he's got some choices to make, hasn't he? He can't turn up in Washington as silent as he is in front of his own party on the alliance. And at the same time, he really seems to want to shake Xi Jinping's hand. And so keeping the alliance and national security out of sight of the Australian people and the Chinese Communist Party seems to be his plan. That plan won't work in Washington.
He's got a big job ahead of him. Michael Shoebridge, always a great pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you very much, mate.